Guys, so I made it the first leg of the journey. So brought the toter down here to Tennessee. If you watch the videos, you know we brought the Durango down here, or the Durango Demon 170 down here a couple weeks ago. So got that down to Tennessee. Now the goal is I'm going to take this out and drive this the rest of the way to Florida, get all the break-in miles, and then hopefully lay down a nice 8-second pass with this thing all stock. So that's the plan. But I did run into a problem that when we were at PRI last week that the water company called, and there's a broken pipe out in the driveway. So I need to repair that first. Guess what? That is my only mode of transportation. It's either that or the toter. So I'm going to be taking that to the hardware store to go get some tools, some parts and stuff to fix the pipe. Now, I know we've done this a lot with different cars and obviously 6-second cars, and we take them everywhere, but delivered from the factory, an 8-second car as a daily driver to go to the hardware store. I'm gonna drive that thing to Florida. Like, that is pretty badass. So I gotta load up in that, head to Lowe's, get some parts for it, get the driveway fixed, and then motor that thing to Florida. Demon 170, Lowe's. Going to work. 8-second car. Let's turn on the heated seats and the heating steering wheel because it's a little chilly outside. Just so you know, it wasn't for show. Parts runner. Got that cut off. There's a culprit broke off. I think the settling. I mean, this Tennessee stuff where the stuff's only like 8 inches down. A lot of stuff was settling, but now I just gotta cut this out of here and hopefully get back together and get water back to the shop. We are going to head to everybody's favorite place, I think, Buc-ee's, because they usually have E85. I'll show you what the blend is in the car right now, what it's saying, and we want to try and get that to about 75% ethanol by the time that we get to Florida. So I think there's quarter tank, so we'll see what that mix makes it, but we just want to work towards that. You definitely, I mean, you would say you want the highest ethanol content, but you don't, because there's a point in time where we're going to run out of fuel pump. So fuel pump is designed at max capacity, E85. You need a lot more fuel for it. So I'm sure that it is on, at least what I understand, it's on the tipping edge. So if you get all the way to that 85%, you might actually run out of fuel pump at the end of the track. And we are going to be able to make max power, I believe, above 70% ethanol content. We'll be able to tell that from the dash and what it's reading. But I mean, that's typically, our cars are on the 85. I mean, I think Aiden's car above 60% is going to give you max power. The Talladega is like, yeah, it's 55, 60%. It's going to be in the max power range. But so we're going to work on that blend, see how we can do it on the way down there. And there you go. We are going to be on the road. All right, guys, currently you can see right here we are at E9 is what the reading is. I mean, most gasoline is up to 10% ethanol, down under a quarter of a tank. One thing I do want you guys to see with this is, like, I've driven plenty of Hellcats, and obviously I have a Durango Hellcat. What they set up with the tune and the shifting pattern, this is super aggressive. Like, it's computer downshifts. Once again, I mean, 100% stock. This has not been touched. But it gives you the readout there. But I mean, that's acceleration. But figures we got to be following a state trooper. But you can just hear how it's holding into the gear. It doesn't do the normal shift drop or stay in the higher gear. I mean, it's definitely staying in the lower gear and not just upshifting. So they definitely have an aggressive shift combination in it. Going to hit the Chick-fil-A here, but you'll hear on these downshifts as I get ready to turn. If you hear how those downshifts happen. Us northerners, when we get down south and there's some Chick-fil-A, we got to grab Chick-fil-A, but hit that before heading to the gas station, and then I'll just show you where we're at with the ethanol once that happens. All right, guys, it's creeping up. Creeped up to like 37. Now it's at 56. As it's starting to go up, we'll see what it back down to 55, 57, 60. So yeah, we'll see what it creeps up to. So the octane increases, and like I said, I mean, we want to get to about a 75 is probably where we would like to be at by the time we get to the track. But I mean, it's a 12.5-hour drive. Just looked it up to get down there. So we got 12.5 hours. There's 72 miles on it. Rule is get 500 miles for break-in. So we will far exceed that by the time we get to the track. It actually turned green. I noticed it at 66. So at 66, it turned green. So let's see. Yep, there you go. It says we have full horsepower available to us. 1,025 horsepower at 66% ethanol content. So there you go. I said that's 70-75. It looks like we've already hit to where we will be. We are now going to have max power available to us. So, but that only took. I mean, literally 5 miles from the gas station as that made it through. So, I mean, I didn't test the ethanol or anything that we put in there, but must have been a pretty good mix to get us up to that level. I really thought we would be hovering closer to the 50% mark. Man, I can tell you what, for a car that is designed as a straight line car to run 8s, this thing handles cutting through the mountains. I mean, handles pretty awesome. Just adjusted up to E69. There you go, 70, 72. With flex fuel, the advantage is that you can put regular gas in there. But when you're running the same tank at the track as well as on the street, then the idea is I'd keep the octane level. With Aiden's car, I mean, we've got it to where we were trying to get it back up within range, and we ended up just having to drain fuel out of it because we couldn't get enough octane in it after having a decent amount of gas in the tank. So just trying to avoid doing that. It looks like it's leveled out at E75 now. The thing that's nice is auto start. My coffee. The car will be nice and warm when I get in there. Alright guys, so update. We got a car with equipped with drag radials from the factory, and now we get to drive it in the rain. I've unfortunately a lot of experience driving with drag tires and drag radials in the rain. Not pleasant. I do know, like, by looking at these tires, they did cut the grooves deeper to almost form like a water channel. So I'm going to hope that helps to provide a little better traction in wet conditions. I wasn't expecting. I was expecting rain tomorrow. Wasn't supposed to necessarily rain today. Outlook says it's going to end quickly. Hopefully it never ends up a torrential downpour, but we'll see. I mean, right now she is raining decently. So fuel economy, so we are averaging 13.1 miles to a gallon. So that would be since that last fill up until now. So I don't know what the thing should be averaging per gallon, but I mean that's obviously where we're at right now with it. I know that most of my crap does not average that well, so I'm going to call that as a good even on E85. But that's where we're at. We are down in Florida all the way just past I think that was Daytona Beach area, and then on the way down towards Orlando area. So I mean, getting close. stick, putting it in there and hoping that the download of the performance data, so when you make a pass, gets recorded to that memory card. We are definitely the novice at this system and how to make sure that how to make it work. But there was a camera option, you press that and it said no media, so we did get a USB stick, and supposedly you just put that in one of those slots and that helps it. Now you hit the camera and it doesn't do anything, just like a faint SRT goes on the board. But temperatures awesome. I mean, it's 54 degrees, so I think the DA is below sea level. So I mean, we have ideal conditions, hopefully, for what we're going to try and do today. Try to get the 8 out of this thing and do it in factory trim. No lightening of the wheels, no passenger seat removed. We'll see what it does. Trying to be the first to run an 8 with it stock. No laptop hooked up to it. No, I mean, nothing. Not changing anything. Just trying to repeat what Dodge did with it, so we can get that 8-second pass in there.
And then at that point, everything, all the drag race stuff's on the main screen.
Well, yeah, and then maybe that's the trans brake. I guess that stuff there, maybe that's where I hit that at.
Yeah.
But line lock I pulled out of there, I think. Well, at least it said once I was in there to follow the instructions. So it's going to be a time-consuming start. Good thing nobody else is up there. Don't know. Couldn't figure out how to make the trans brake work, so then I pushed through the light.
Well, there was a lizard in the beams, so that's why it didn't go stage, because it went straight from pre-stage to deep stage.
Right.
And you were creeping it, so...
Yeah, so that was because there was a lizard there?
Yeah. It did pull a wheelie.
What's weird though is it didn't pull the wheelie at the launch. It pulled the wheelie like a fraction of a second into it, and then it pulled up. So it's like it...
Dead lazy when it first took off.
Well, I got to figure out how to use the trans brake, because I could not figure out how to get it to engage. So I guess I got to watch a video. Like, I kept hitting that button and everything kept staying the same. Like I said, this is the novice lesson. 0 to hopefully hero at the end of the day when we make this happen. I think I wasn't even in drag mode on that last pass, and that's why it wasn't activating. So I think that when you go through the stuff, then you actually then end up in a phase that's not the... it goes auto mode. So then you got to re-enable drag mode again to then be in the right thing, because it'll show you all those screens and you may not be in drag mode. So I don't know. And then it's like, then it's got a timer on that when you're on the trans. You can't do it too quick, because that's why it was bogging. It said release too quickly, deactivated. So all right, we learned one more thing, so now we'll see if that does any better. spun. That time it just spun right at the launch. So I'm gonna see what we can do to not have it spin. Well, I think I definitely wasn't in drag mode before because that one felt better, but trying to get a baseline to a baseline part that then we can say, okay, now if we just cool it down a lot, because I mean we know when we get to that point we'll probably ice the intake and everything just to try and have it as cool as possible, but shouldn't affect it too much in the 60 foot. So just chip away at it, see what we can do. I mean the weather's perfect, chilly out, so tailwind, so I mean all the conditions are right to try and do what we want to do. So just hopefully that's what we do. Still spinning like right at the launch. I mean that's gonna be the tricky part to figure out. It's just to get the thing to launch the whole way. But I mean the first one, I mean literally it spun right at the hit, so backed up, picked a different line, and it stuck, but it still spun just a little bit out. So it's trying to we gotta try and work on that part a little bit. But man, she's a ripper. I mean, can tell you, like, she feels good going down the track. Definitely wants to pull the wheels up in the air. Definitely a cool feeling for something that, like, as delivered from the factory. I mean, all the stuff that we're messing with and everything is right on the dash. So it's, I mean, it's all available to anyone to just sit there and play around with and try and come up with the best scenario for it to see how it'll do best. What's up with that? Like, it's seriously bogged on the shifts. Like, it's like it was not happy. Launching good. It still did the bog. Like, it only did it the one time there. Like, the second time wasn't as drastic, but definitely the first one was, I mean, just noses over and doesn't want to keep pulling. So not sure what that's about. We'll play with the little dots on the screen and see if we can make it better. Definitely is not fuel that time because we just put 5 gallons of 85 in it. So I don't know. Either way, day at the track. is going to have a decent short time. Quite a long way to go. I feel like the 1-2 shift was better, and then that 2-3 shift laid over, so I feel like we just get rid of that bar. It seems like it's holding, like the track's holding whatever, like it's not spinning anything. So it's kind of like, how do you just give it all the freaking power right away, which maybe we go into that other power pattern. Got down to a 937.
Over here now.
It's still mile per hour down, 8 down, 6 was off a little bit. I mean, it feels good. I mean, 8, like that needs to be like a 570 or something, like a 560. Right. Like, I mean, it felt like it bogged a little less at the gear change, but I mean, it's still like, it's not keeping the power there. And
right.
Like, yeah, so that's where I don't know if it's that stone cold case that, like you said, that we don't have it available because it's warm.
Right.
But you got no way to cool that thing all the way down. Like, I mean,
let's get bags of ice and just literally set them on top of the blower.
Right, but is it the blower or water temp, oil temp, all of those things that are factoring into it?
Yeah, that we don't know.
So.
But I mean, now it's going to be my next curiosity question, is to ice the blower and see if that is the car using the air temps to decide what it's doing. You know, managing power on the shift you wouldn't think would matter because it's going to be down on power, so you would think it would manage it less.
Shouldn't care about that. So now is it trans temp? Like, are any of those factors that it's calculating in there? Don't know enough about it to know. I mean, same point. I mean, the car feels awesome when it leaves and everything. It like sucks that that's not an 8 something, because it definitely pulls the wheels up and takes off good. So, but like no matter what, the fact that you just drove that off the dealer lot and could bring it right here and then pull the wheels on a launch, like, pretty cool. But yeah, can I get a 2A with a Coke? 2A with a Coke? Actually, make it 2 A's with a Coke. So the goal was that you go 890 and then you take it to McDonald's, but instead we went 930 and we take it to McDonald's. Still the same. I don't even understand. Like, I'm like, oh, that time it felt better. Now that time it did spin and catch and spin and catch. So like, it did overpower the track on that one. So I mean, I guess the trick is in that situation, if you get that to hook to where it didn't spin at all, then that would definitely be better. But we're still kind of fighting that. We're fighting a battle for a freaking half second, not a tenth, not 2/10. I thought we were gonna come and fight 2/10. So fighting a half second, no matter how much I smile when the wheels are in the air on that thing, like, it's still want to go run the number because you know it's there. So just how do you get to it? ran? Well, I do. But man, that is fun. The launch where it freaking stands this thing up. Like, I mean, it is a rush. I mean, and that's, I've been 5s in the quarter, so running 9s in the quarter, I didn't think it'd ever be as fun as this has made it. Now, I really got to get it to the 8s, but boy, am I having a good time practicing. Well, we went a 31, so we gained a little on the 60 foot and a 6 flat to the 8th. I mean, 116, I mean, it's still, well, 35, so I mean, that is better. That is our best yet, but like I said to the camera on the way back, like, I don't care. I care what it ran, but I really don't care because literally something you can drive off the showroom floor can do a freaking wheelie like that off the starting line. That is pretty freaking cool. So we still gotta get it in the 8s, but man, that launch, that was cool. I don't know what happened on the first launch. It's like it put it in neutral. Like, even though it wasn't in neutral, like, so I mean, backed it up and did it again, and I mean, killer wheelie on that one for sure. But I don't know. End of the day, it's still a 4,300 pound car or whatever the heck it weighs. We've done no lightning to it. We haven't done anything to it, and I mean, I don't even know if the 891 had a passenger seat or not. Like, I have no idea. But I mean, we have passenger seat. We got the stereo in the trunk. I mean, we've got all the everything exactly the way it came. We don't have the carbon fiber wheels, but there's no way that those are half-second items. So we just got to get it sorted out so we can get it in striking distance of the 8, and it's a fun car. So no matter what. All right, just want to show you guys how much detail's gone in this car and how much control you have just from the touchpad. I mean, we've done nothing with the laptop today or anything like that. Literally just everything is through the radio. So, but drag mode, which we put in drag mode, this is going to give us, tells us power, which just shows that we got ethanol content. I don't know what it kicks in at. I know around 66, but then this is going to put us here to where now we've got, now we have the selection of stuff here that, I mean, here's our starting preference off the trans brake, and we can go into these in more detail. For example, hit trans brake. So this is giving us the trans brake. Here's our launch torque. It's got 3 baseline settings, A, B, and C. We did a little bit of B today, and then we ended on A, which basically is just putting everything in, but then you can go and customize them on top of that, which then gives you the ability at launch and intervals to turn it up. And you can see where we're at to put it all the way to where we want it at, and that's on the launch. The other is you have the shift. Now on the shift, we've been able to adjust this 1-2 shift. The 2-3 shift, we can't take that out. If we take it out, it's going to pop right back. So that's a safety to save the transmission. But I mean, that was in when they ran the 8, so it's not costing anything too much. So, but obviously, I mean, we're able to deal with the shifts and dial the shifts in close. We're also on the torque curve, like I showed you with the launch torque. So that gives you everything with the launch, which is basically just taking you to 1.6 seconds. And I mean, we're at 0.1 second. We're basically all the way in. Here's your launch setup here. And then I'll show you like line lock. I don't think it's gonna do this, but if I activate line lock, so basically it's not running, but the when you activate line lock, you basically hold the brake down, then you're going to hold the OK button, then that'll show this disable the rear brakes. That allows you to your burnout with it. And then when you do on your trans brake, the trans brake setup is you're in trans brake mode, you have to be in drag mode, which we're in. Then with the trans brake, you hold down the paddles and the brake. That allows you to bring it up onto the two-step. You'll release one paddle. Then once you're staged, you release the brake, and then you launch it at whatever your preset. It's going to hold it at that preset RPM. So if you hear it at the line, I had that stuff at the preset RPM, which is what takes care of that. So, but it'll give you that as well as timers. Tells you what times are as far as like 60-foot time and whatever quarter mile ET, and then your gauges so you can see what everything's at, what your intake air is at, what all the details are. I'm sure that there's more detailed videos out there, but that is a basic rundown of the stuff that we're messing with to fine-tune the car for the track. Obviously we have more to go so that we can get to exactly where we want to be, but either way, cool as hell that from the factory you get all these features and you can screw around with that. All right guys, well that is a wrap. We got rained out over the weekend. There was nothing going on yesterday, so then today the conditions have been awesome to do it, just not enough time for us. I mean, we definitely have failed. We got a lot of runs in and we're picking away at stuff, but I truly thought we were going to come here and out of the box be running 920s and chasing 20. Instead we came here running 940s or 20s chasing 90s. Instead we came here running 40s chasing 90s. We did pick up a 10th on the day, but killer wheelies. I mean, still like an awesome car. We just got to figure out how to get that 890 in it. Bone stock, like nothing done to it. Stock wheels, tires, like everything. Still has passenger seat, so I don't know if lightning is the way to go. I actually don't even know if the 890 car had a passenger seat or not. We still have the stereo in there. I mean, there's lots of stuff, but not. I thought the weight thing was something that we were going to be in the 20s, get down 10s, and then start chasing weight to try and get that last little bit. So we never made it to the point to then just chase those small gains to get into the 8s. We're definitely going to try it again, but I have to get back to Michigan. I'm already 2 days late leaving, so I got to get back to work. So gonna leave this down here though. Greg's just gonna take it down to his house, but to be continued. The chase for the 8s, which, man, I really thought it was gonna be a one-day chase, but end of the day, you gotta love the wheelies. You gotta love, I mean, I probably said it multiple times today, but you go to a dealership, you buy this, you come to the track and you do wheelies. That's actually scary for a lot of people to be in that situation that they could do that. But man, is it cool. What a great time to be alive. And hey, God bless America.